everybody. Welcome to the Love and Light Show with me, Sarah Manning. So nice to see all of you. And if you're watching Moonstruck TV or you're watching the videos, I hope you like my new background. I actually rearranged things in my office to make that the focal point. I'm not sure if it'll stay, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So I hope everybody's having a really great week. So far, so good here. We've been blessed with beautiful weather. It was raining a little bit here today, but hey, you need that for the spring, right? So why not have it? As always, as my wonderful producers are getting me a caller, we are just going to pull a card, see what happens. Oh, actually, before I do that, I do have a card, but actually, I wanted to talk to you guys about something, and something that has been on my mind for a while. And I am, of course, I do intuitive readings here, but I am also a medium, so I do have the privilege of connecting loved ones together again. And I think it's really interesting. A big lesson that I had to learn a couple of weeks ago now, maybe it was last week, was that although, of course, I am proud of every single reading I have ever done and being able to connect people together, it doesn't mean that all my readings are a 10, 10 out of 10. Sometimes it's 5 out of 10. Sometimes it's 7 out of 10. But I'm proud of all of them. So why is it that I can be proud of all of them, even when I know that some of them maybe weren't that excellent high top mark that I always aim for? Well, I think the biggest thing that I always tell my clients that they need to always remember is I'm not in control of the reading. I don't dictate what happens. I don't tell the spirit on the other side what they're going to say, how they're going to talk, what they're going to talk about. It's very much up to them. I'm simply the iPhone, actually, is what I tell everybody. I'm simply the telephone, right? I'm not in control of what happens. The person on the end, my client, is responsible for a portion of it. And then the spirit on the other side, who's got the other end of the receiver, is responsible for it as well. So I've had readings where the loved one that my client wants to hear from the most doesn't show up until the end. I've had spirits that don't sit still. They won't stay with me because they're all over the place. They're very energetic. And I of course, always put 100% into every connection that I do, but it's a big learning experience for me and something I have to work on every single reading to remember that I'm not, yes, I'm partly responsible for how the reading goes, but I'm not fully responsible, right? And that, I think, is probably one of the biggest reasons why when I'm not feeling well, or there's even the slightest chance that the reading isn't going to go well, I immediately contact my client and I said, look, you're investing into this, and I want to make sure that you have the best experience. And I don't think today is the day. Sometimes it's me, and other times I'm like, I honestly don't know where your loved ones are. They haven't shown up. I don't know what's going on. So I will either call them and I will, we'll start doing things, and I will tell them straight up and honest, today's not the day. We can try to continue, but I can tell you right now that it's not going to be a very good reading, or we can reschedule. And 9 times out of 10, I'm very fortunate. Most of my clients are like, no, let's just continue. I'm like, okay, great. Sometimes it's even, I find that if my client on the other side is not feeling well, has had a bad day or anything, I'm very much like, okay, well, if you're not ready, let's not do this, right? And that's actually one of the reasons, if you book a reading with me, I will give you a confirmation letter. And within that confirmation letter, it actually does state no alcohol and no recreational drugs. And the reason why is because if you are vibrating low, the connection is not going to be all that great. That's not to say if you've been prescribed something a bit heavier by a doctor, you can't take your prescribed medication. Of course you can. But I'm always very conscious of, hey, I don't want to feel funky after. You might want to because that's your choice, but I don't want to. So I always like to, teach people as much as I can what it's like for me anyways as medium. And it's definitely not up to me how the reading goes. I'm simply the facilitator. So anyways, on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed that little bit. On that note, we have Dakota from Los Angeles, California. Hi, Dakota. How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you? Thank you so much for taking my call.
You are so welcome. And I am great. Thank you. I'm so excited to have you on the show with me. I really appreciate it. So how's Vancouver, or not Vancouver, Did you guys get that beautiful rain down where you are?
You know what? We didn't get any rain today, but you know, it's the weather's getting nice again. So,
oh, right on. That's always nice. I just heard that California got some beautiful rain a couple of weeks ago, and got some like beautiful blooms. So I was wondering if you were in that area.
You know, we had a lot of rain, and it's all a matter of perception. I'm just happy for the sun again. But no, we got a lot of rain, and it's nice because we needed it. But
for sure,
it's
sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, I actually have a couple of cards that have already popped out for you. The one came out like really strong and really clear. And it's funny because like as soon as I saw the card, I honestly wanted to put it back and be like, no, I don't want that one. But the universe is never about me. It's always about my client, and it's always about the message that you need to hear. So I have the very first card actually that popped out that I was like, oh man, is the Dragon's Lair. And you know, that's okay. It's not a bad card. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, you know, sometimes there's those tools that we have that we're like, oh, it's not my favorite, but that's okay. I'll use it anyways. That's exactly what this card is. So it's a good one. I don't want to like make you upset or freak you out. Be like, oh darn, because it's not. It's a good one. And the second card that actually came out was an upside down cleaning house card. And upside down means either pay special attention to the message or the opposite of. But I only know when I get to that card. Dakota, it's interesting because like as soon as I start connecting with you and start chatting with you and everything, I actually feel like my stomach really hurts and stuff. Are you're dealing with a lot of stress right now? Would that be right?
You know, I have been. I'm actually just going through a lot of changes. It just feels like, yeah, I mean, the last few years were really, really hard, and I just feel like I'm coming to the end of it. Okay. I actually feel a lot of shifts and changes.
Awesome. And, okay, perfect.
You know,
that's great.
I'm excited. I know I have groundwork to do, but you know, I kind of want to. I'm ready to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm just,
okay.
You know, wanting.
Well, let's get to the card. And I'll tell you what they have to say, because I agree with you. I agree with you because to me, that's why, so I'm going to actually switch things up a little bit. Normally I do the first card first and the second card after, but I'm going to switch things up. I do agree with you. I believe that's why the cleaning house card was upside down, because the cleaning house card is very much not necessarily about cleaning your house, but cleaning your perspective, your belief system, doing a lot of healing, having those shifts and allowing them to flow naturally. And it really does tie into the Dragon's Lair, because as I hold Dakota, are you dealing with a lot of like dizziness and almost vertigo? Because as soon as I pick up the card, I can feel some pressure in my head.
You know what? I have a headache today. So, but I have a headache right now, so maybe you've been getting it. But I was doing some meditation this morning, and I'm also a Reiki practitioner, so, you know, I don't know if you're just, I've been slaying a lot of dragons, so I'm not afraid of that part, because it totally coincides. It totally coincides with what I've been doing, but I also, you know, I'm trying to put together stuff, you know, in the very near future, and, you know, it all seems to kind of coincide, you know, because I have been, you know, the Dragon Slayer, you know, it to me, it all ties in, you know, it ties into the physical health, the spiritual health, the emotional health. So, I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
What is the, do you know,
I'm not
do you
afraid.
remember
I've been doing huh?
Yeah, Dakota, just let me give you these messages. I love that you're chatty, but I want to make sure we get the messages across because we don't have a lot of time. But I'm so proud of you for your perspective. And it's interesting. Like, I love the fact that you're talking because I think that like what I get from that is that's actually something that is new for you as well. You're breaking through a lot of barriers and just claiming your truth and speaking your truth without apology. And I think that's amazing. I love that. What I love about this Dragon's Lair card is it's actually not Dragon Slayer, it's Dragon's Lair, so like the Dragon's Den. What I love about that is every time I look at it and every time I hear the dragon, what I hear from it is very much, I don't know if you grew up with these books, but the Paper Bag Princess by Robert Munsch, that is so like the image that I get for you, because you are, you're learning to claim your status, claim your right unapologetically. You've taken the ash that has been your life, you're making it into a diamond. And it's interesting, but the one thing that I want to remind you with that is you don't have to settle. Like I keep wanting to say, don't settle for the paper bag dress. Like enjoy what you have, give yourself more, give yourself every opportunity to shine, which you're getting there and everything. And I love that. And I love that you're willing to do that. But I'm like, keep putting yourself out there, because I keep wanting to say you know that you've grown leaps and bounds, but there's still some boundaries that you're hitting. And I want to remind you, when it comes to our decision, our path, our life, our journey, there is no glass ceiling. Like it's there on our thoughts, but you can go as far and as high as you want to. And I think you've got a great attitude. Sharing your story is inspiring. And I just see like really good things for you. I think it'll be awesome, which is part of the cleaning house thing. And on that note, again, I love that you're very honest about all the shifts that you've taken and you're moving. I do want to remind you though that later in time, if something comes up again and kind of knocks the wind out of you, it's not because you failed the first time at healing. It's just there's a little tiny sliver from the stone that was thrown at you, or sometimes we find there's those unconscious beliefs that are holding us and everything. So I just want to remind you that sometimes it's like how do I word this? It's like a paleontologist who slowly digs through the layers of dirt. Eventually he does find some things or new layers. So there's always some new layers, but I love that you're claiming it. You're good. You're moving forward. And I'm just really excited. And as I say that, I keep hearing, grab another card. So what I did is I did, and it's the balancing act. So it's remembering to, how do I want to say this with the balancing act? That's interesting. Dakota, I hope this makes sense. Does that all make sense so far, Dakota, what I'm saying to you? If it doesn't, that's okay. Just let me know.
It really does. Because funny enough, you said, with the splinters, I've been doing cord removal.
Oh.
So everything's making so much sense.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that.
I'm doing it. I'm on the road.
If I could, I would give you a high five. So I'm going to give you an air high five, and we'll call it even.
High five.
Exactly. With the balancing act, what I get with this, Dakota, is I feel like very, very strongly that when you get an idea, or when something is like going really good for you, it's almost like it distracts you from everything else around you, because that becomes such a deep, intense focus for you, which is good. But at the same time, there's only so much, when we get a good idea, we kind of sometimes run out of energy or run out of steam. That's the word I want to use. Sometimes we run out of steam. So make sure you keep doing other things that you really loved. I love that you're growing, and I love that you're moving forward, but don't constantly keep your focus and your energy on growth. Don't forget about joy. You need joy. You need happiness. You need to give yourself that downtime with no apology, no guilt, nothing like that. Growing is awesome, but I don't want you to forget to be about in the moment and loving the moment. Do you understand? Does that make sense to you?
I totally I totally know why you're saying that. It makes a lot of sense.
Awesome. Yay. Do you have any questions for me?
I have a project coming up, and it's to work with women and children who've been abused, domestic violence, or, any other types of abuse. And it's going to be with, within practicing Reiki, life coach. Does that look, do you see anything?
I think that's why, because as soon as you started talking about that, again, that weird feeling came up in my stomach. And the only thing that I get with that is, remember, you can, number one, you cannot, I keep wanting to say you cannot absorb other people's stories, and you cannot, people have to want help before it'll work. Right. So just remember that what you put into it is worth it. And what you put into it is 100% right. And if someone doesn't accept it or doesn't value it, that's not because you're bad at what you do. It's not because you didn't have a good connection or anything like that. Like, you have to be very, very clear on your boundaries. And I love that you talked about releasing that cord release, because that will be 100% vital during this work, because that's heavy, heavy stuff. So make sure that, again, I love that the balancing act came in, because self-care and being in the moment and being in joy, that's going to be really, really important for you. So I think you're headed in the right direction. No wonder did I use the word inspire? I thought I said something about being inspiring, and you will be there for those people that need you. Just make sure you also teach them about that self-care component by example.
No, okay. I agree. It's that's kind of what the year feels like. It's going into new territories, and it's I'm used to controlling everything and not just surrendering to everything.
Totally get that.
I'm an Aries girl. I got to control everything. And try everything. So
I get that.
I just feel like right now, Spirit and my angels are telling me to just let go.
Yes, 100%.
And just let things come natural. So.
Yeah, but remember that you have done a lot of work on that already. So congratulate yourself and be proud of yourself for that. But just remember, there's still little pieces to let go. Oh, I hope you caught that, Dakota. I can hear you. So I'm not sure what's going on. But thank you so much for letting me pass on that information to you. And I wish you all the best, especially with your new path that you're taking. So thank you. Okay, so we're just going to move on to the next caller. We have Margaret in Wrightwood, California. Hi, Margaret. How are you doing?
Fine. How are you, Sarah?
I am just great, thank you. I'm having a fantastic Wednesday. I'm full of laughter, full of fun, busy. How was your Wednesday? Was it a good Wednesday too?
It was a different Wednesday, but it was a good Wednesday. Beautiful weather. We got out of our cold snap up here in the mountains. So
that's good.
Now.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. I know we're I think we're kind of, I think we're, oh gosh, I can't remember. I think British Columbia is right above Washington, and then you guys are kind of right underneath Washington, aren't you?
In California, yeah. To about maybe 1,000 miles. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah.
We've been on the other side. I'm on the mountains that are behind Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're higher up. Yeah, totally get that. I'm higher up for most people too. Love the mountains. So Margaret, as we were chatting, I just shuffled some cards, and actually 2 cards came flying out. And normally I only do one when they do that way, but yours are really like tied together and really important. And the very first card is Heal the Ouch. And it's, usually when I see this card, I talk more about emotional stuff, but do you have, I keep wanting to actually talk about, you've got a lot of physical pains and stuff going on for you. Does that make sense?
Not a lot of physical pain, a little back pain, but nothing too much at the moment.
Okay, maybe pain's not the right word, but is there a lot of health shifts that are going on for you right now? Like not just with your back, but do you find like you're switching your diet up? That like I keep hearing physical. Like I said, normally the heal the ouch card is more emotional and more energetic, but I think for you was way more physical stuff.
Yeah, that is correct. I've been going on and off cigarettes, and my diet and intestines have been suffering. I don't know if that's the result of that or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, actually, yeah, I love it when we hit the nail on the head, because I get like shivers up and down my arm, and I have all these goosebumps up and down my arm. It's like, okay, good, that's perfect. Now, the one thing that I want to remind you is that it's not a race, it's not a sprint, it's a long haul. And it's the other thing that I get with this card is it's about digging into the mindset that you have. Because you said you quit cigarettes, right? Is that did I hear that right?
Right. I quit but I didn't get off the nicotine replacement. So I've been trying to do that, and I was doing a lot of exercise, and then I just kind of totally fell back. So I've been struggling with that. It's been an ongoing, long-term struggle, but I'm determined.
Yeah, and you know what? I've never been a smoker, but I'm someone that really enjoys sugar, big time. Right. It's like when I start with sugar, I have a hard time stopping. So I have a little bit of an understanding, and I used to be really hard on smokers. I have lots of family that smoke, and I would rag on them all the time. And then when I tried to quit sugar, I was like, I'm never ragging on anybody that smokes ever again, because it is so hard. But I think, you know what I want you to be aware of is the words that you're using, because I totally understand that, it's important to embrace the fact that it's not easy. But when we use words like it's constant struggle, I'm like, this is hard and that is hard, it becomes reality. Like our reality or our energy around that, it makes it so it's hard. So again, I don't want to discredit you from the effort that you've put into, but just keep going. You know what? It is hard, but I'm winning. And it is hard. And maybe I only had, maybe I took a step back and I had something to help myself the other day, but that doesn't matter, because I was aware of it. I didn't start smoking again. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I'm still taking strides forward, and that's what's important. And that to me is why why it's more physical than energetic, I believe. Like, I keep wanting to say, like, look at because it's interesting, because I'm like, even though it feels a bit heavy with the physical, I feel like you're also doing more stuff, like you're more connected to your body. That's what I want to say. You're way more connected to your body than you've ever been. Would that be right?
Oh, yes, that's true. Yes, paying attention. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so yay. So it's like, I keep wanting to tell you, like, write a list of all the amazing things. It doesn't matter how little, how insignificant you might think it is. If it's a win, still write it down, because that'll also show you how much further ahead you are than what you perceive yourself to be. And the second card that came out with that was the Magic Stream. And the Magic Stream card is very much about the words you use, the energy that you put out, making sure that you're conscious, not just of the words that you're putting into the universe, but also the words that you're thinking, because that's so important with the energy. And the other, like, wow, there's so many things that I'm hearing for you. It's like, be conscious of the music that you're listening to, be conscious of the food that you're eating. Like, there's so many ways to get even more connected, which I believe you're already starting to do already. But I feel like this is your confirmation that you're on the right path from spirit and from the universe. Like, does that make sense so far?
Yes, absolutely. And I have been trying to think, and thank you. Yeah, that's a great confirmation.
You're welcome.
Yeah, which wolf I'm feeding in my brain, the bad one or the good one, and how I'm giving the energy back to the universe, whether it's frustrated or loving. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. And don't worry, don't go yet. We still have some time. So And the other thing that I want to remind you is that it will poke its head up in the like oddest ways where we're not even like aware. We're like, oh my God, yeah, that is kind of a self-negative talk. I didn't even realize it. And when that starts happening, it's not because we're all of a sudden like tuning in. Well, it is, but like, it's not consciously that we're doing it. The universe is going, oh yay, she's vibrating higher. She's got more perspective. She's got more appreciation. So anytime anything a little off of that vibration comes through our thought, our mind, our body, wherever music wise, we kind of like pick up on it way faster. And that's what's exciting and everything. I hope you can still hear me okay.
Yeah, I can.
You can? Okay, perfect. I quickly grabbed another card because we had some time, but the other card that comes up is the Upside Down Rescue card. And what I've taught, with this card, I just want to remind you that you're not as isolated or alone as you think. I got to speed up a little bit. I got 90 seconds left. But it's interesting because I want to remind you to talk to the universe, talk to your guides when you're going through things, cravings or thoughts or shifts or anything like that. Remember that you've got a support team around you and they only need you to ask to help. Sometimes we go, oh, just like, why aren't you guys helping me? And they're going, because you haven't asked me yet. We're trying our best, but we can't interfere in your free will. So remember that your story is awesome. Surround yourself by people that appreciate what you're going through and that will support you. Because sometimes we've got people that claim to support us, but in the end, they're kind of sabotaging us because they feel bad about, they're looking at us and our progress and they're like, oh man, I can't do that. So I'm going to try to make things difficult for her. So just make sure that your story is your story and you don't absorb anybody else's. Does that make sense?
Yes, it absolutely does. It absolutely does.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Do you have any questions for me? I have like 30 seconds left, but I'm happy to answer anything.
I just had my father die last year. Do you ever get messages from people who passed?
I do. And if you message me through email or through Facebook, I can connect you with some things on how we can do that. But unfortunately, I've run out of time, Margaret. I'm so sorry. But thank you so much for letting me pass the messages that we had on today. And to everybody else, thank you for joining the Love and Light show. And I hope everybody has a fantastic week. Love and Light, guys. See you later. Bye.